Now this movement has many, many uses. He's shifting his weight forward, turning the body, shifting back, turning the body. As the hands extend, the hips are already coming back. As the hands are going backwards, the hips are coming forward. They're very, very good for giving you good flexibility in the ankles, knees, lower back, and every movement in Chen Tai Chi follows this weight shifting and knee twirling pattern. All of them do. And we're changing sides. For anybody seriously wanting to practice push hands, we can apply any of the 8 principles from this particular movement and work into any of the 5 directions as well. More detailed material on the 8 principles and 5 directions present in this will be available. Check our website for details in the future. That's coming soon, you know. From here, closing and settling. Even though Henry looks like he's standing up, really all his weight is going down. Tai Chi is a martial art that offers an opponent an opportunity to become very confused, because the Tai Chi practitioner looks like they're doing one thing where actually they're doing another. Henry is now looking down at the heel of the opposite foot while doing this. This helps to tuck the lower back in and give it a nice little opportunity to set the bones in, because we've been extending the arms out away from the torso, and what could happen when we're beginning or at any time in our practice is that our back starts to bend backwards rather than maintain vertical alignment. As the first level of these exercises is primarily concerned with preparing the body for any kind of physical activity, especially martial arts, and for smoothing the body out afterwards, joint alignment is really important. So taking care of the skeleton and connective tissue is the first priority of a Chen Tai Chi practitioner. From here we're rotating the hips. While rotating the hips, the head is staying in exactly the same place. We're making a very large circle around the hips, or a very small one, and this helps to bring the awareness down into the abdomen. The movements aren't really actually happening from the hip joints. They're happening from somewhere sort of midway between the knee and ankle and the waist, with the emphasis on driving the weight through the body even though the spine is tilted sideways, forward and backwards, so that we, in a situation where we might be pushed, can regain our equilibrium without losing it, or give someone the impression in push hands that we've lost our equilibrium when we actually haven't, and guide them into a trap. The next movements now are very small circles with the knees. While doing these movements, if you practice at home, it's very important to get your knees to press back as far as possible and not to be making circles on bent legs. By pressing back the knees, it helps to drive the legs straight and balance the skeleton, and this will level the hips and also has a beautiful effect of setting in the lower back, you know. So we're very, very slowly, gently preparing the body to adopt different profiles and sink easily. Now we're doing it with the knees together. In Chen Tai Chi, the knees are one of our primary weapons. Knees, hips, shoulder, elbow, forearm or inner arm, back of the wrist, palm of the hand, fists and fingers are used for striking. But it's the parts of the body closest to the spine that will generate the most power. And Fajing, or explosive power in Chen Tai Chi, is generated from shaking the legs and allowing that movement to snap out through the rest of the body, obviously with one or two other little tricks involved, and the subject of Fajing is going to be covered extensively in another one of our contributions to YouTube or DVDs shortly. It's very important that the body is really relaxed, centered, grounded, and moving in a balanced fashion before Fajing is practiced. This movement now helps to set the knee joint into place, stretch open the front of the knee, stretch the ankle, and open up the toes on the foot that you're actually sitting on. Reflex points for the brain are situated behind the toes. So while we're working energy around our groin and navel, We're also tweaking the reflex points for the brain and upper dantian, and therefore creating a really good balance throughout the entire energy system. There's a very good martial arts use for this. If you use your imagination, if you have just toppled someone to the ground and have the hand in a wrist lock, you can place your knee behind the shoulder on the person's neck and pin them without having to go to the ground and embrace them like some jiu-jitsu styles seem to like to do, you know? From here we're squatting down. This helps to open up the back of the hips, allow the line from the mid-back to the behind the knee to stretch and extend, and allow the point from the front of the hips right down to the top side of the ankle to open up and elongate. From point to point we do this, sinking the legs a little bit. As you notice, Henry is doing very little to lose inclination or vertical alignment on the spine. It's very important that the weight of the back is going through the hips and into the feet, regardless of what body posture you're taking on. Here you'll see his wrists and hands, elbows, shoulders, torso, upper, back. In fact, the whole body is completely relaxed. His head is suspended from a point behind the ears or from above. There's two different ways of doing that. From here we're shaking down, getting the weight. You'll notice that 60% of Henry's weight is going to the ground and some is coming forward. This movement here is to shake the knee and the hip joints loose. If you're shaking your skeleton while trying to realign it, you have a better chance of it dropping back into place than you have if you merely just stretch it out in one linear direction. Every movement we do in Tai Chi involves circles and spirals. Spiraling force comes up from the feet into the hands, or is drawn from the hands down into the feet, depending on which way we're moving. The only thing moving up and down in a straight line generally is the spine as it's sinking, and even then it has the potential to spiral off in any direction. Everything in the body, every movement is always completely connected. It first starts off with very nice, easy little movements. You'll notice that Henry is not straightening his back leg, which is very important. Here he gives a little tweak to the system before stretching it hard, and then rotates. Notice that a sense of gracefulness and fluidity is quite prized by Tai Chi masters and much sought after by students. Physical gracefulness and equipoise obviously equates to mental grace and equipoise. Characteristics that tie in with the philosophical development and mental and spiritual development of any student of Tai Chi, and our school stresses development in all arenas.